Oh, hi everyone, it's Susie again from Esoteric Trading Solutions. Hope you're all well. Be kind to yourself, be kind to your family, be kind to your friends, be kind to just people in general and your animals as well. You're right, I love it when some of my YouTubers call me out because I like this honest, open relationship. You're right, some of them said I was really grumpy last night. You're right, I was really tired. And I didn't get to bed until about 8:30 this morning, my time. So I was up for like, I don't know, about 18 hours or something. So I do apologise for that. I was grumpy and I'm really sorry if that came across. And then someone said, you know, sweetheart, you're almost being like a hypocrite because you're being really grumpy and calling people idiots. And then on one hand you say everyone's, please be nice to everyone. Well, you know what, you're absolutely right. So I'm very sorry about that. Just when I get grumpy, I get a bit tired and I get a bit short-tempered. But today I've had a lot of sleep, so I do apologise for that. But I really like it, YouTubers, when, you know, you say it as it is. And that's how I say it, and I take it on board, I take it on the chin. And that's fair enough. You know, I like that when it's constructive criticism, not when it's awful, horrible hate stuff, but when it's constructive, yes, I agree with you. You know, I was grumpy and, you know, it came across, and you know, I apologise for that. And also, you know, I shouldn't call people idiots all the time. It's not nice, you're right. Sorry, I just got to have a glass of water. Just got up. But I guess sometimes I get so frustrated. And also, these people in government, it's like in Australia, these people in government get paid a lot of money. And often they don't know a lot. And I'll give you an example. I won't name names, but there was a guy in government in Australia, and he was the guy for the whole of the finance of the Australian government, you know, in the whole of the country, right? The guy didn't have any qualifications in accounting or finance or anything. And honestly, it's the only job I know where people get paid like $500,000 a year. They get long-term benefits. They get superannuation of something like 25%. Then when they leave Parliament, they get ongoing payments and everything else. They never seem to lose their job. They can do anything. And seriously, like us little plebs, you know, we work, you know, and do, you know, be a janitor or something, and the micromanagement's just unbelievable. But then someone in those levels get paid a lot of money and they don't even seem to know what they're talking about. But anyway, so, you know, I will be a bit more careful when I call people idiots. I do apologise. And I take your comments on the chin. I really do. So thank you, my YouTubers. And, you know, let's just go through some of these questions. I just want to talk about the SEC, blinded by science and technology. Some people basically said that, you know, Ethereum they believe is not a security, and they're labelling maybe Ripple is and this sort of thing. I just want to be a bit clearer about this. It's the fact that these tokens or coins deal on the exchange. Okay, so in the secondary market, which is what the exchange is, the secondary market, all these coins and tokens deal on the exchange. So you're buying and selling. There's me a buyer, you a seller, and we're both buying and selling, and we both expect to make profit. We don't buy or we don't sell anything to expect to lose money. So it's the fact that these coins and tokens are trading on the exchanges, okay? It's, you know, someone said it's, you know, if I buy a car and do something with it, well, it's completely different. We can go and on all the regional exchanges, there's 600 different exchanges out there, and we can go and buy Ethereum and sell Ethereum, the coin, or the token, whatever you're going to call it, the coin. We can do the same with Bitcoin. We can do it with all the coins and tokens on the exchange. It's the fact that we can do that and do it by third party, where a loss or a profit can be made and a price is transacted, that is what designates the security in the financial markets. So I just want to make that point really clear. And so in my mind, every coin or token that deals on the exchange is a security. It's the fact that it is on the exchange. You see what I'm saying? The fact that you can buy and sell the security on the exchange, and no one sells into security or buys a security with the expectation of making a loss, right? You just don't do that. What, I'm going to go and buy Ethereum and think I'm going to make a loss? You know what I'm saying? So it just So my point is the fact that they deal on the exchanges. You can deal on the exchanges with those coins. Now, if they weren't on the exchange, I wouldn't designate them as security in terms of financial markets. And I'm not talking a legal sense here. I'm talking in terms of financial markets in every other market out there. And that's what the SEC's got to compare it to, every other market, basically. And that's what I'm saying, okay? Oh. Sorry, I really just got up and I'm a bit dehydrated. I need some water. So let's just go through some of these questions, okay? Right. So I'm saying essentially, everything that deals on the market on an exchange is a security. That's what I'm saying. Now, Mr. Cool Dad, he's quite right, and I agree with you, Mr. Cool Dad. Thank you very much for calling me sweetheart. That's lovely. You came up with a beautiful message, be good too, and then you start calling people idiots. You're actually right, and I agree with you. And I apologise for that, so I'm going to be a bit kinder about that because I am a kind person, very kind, and, you've made me feel bad now, and I agree with you. I don't like calling people idiots because it's, quite demoralising. So I am going to be nicer. I'm very sorry about that. I was very grumpy and very tired last night, and someone else said the same thing to me, and he was quite right. So I guess when I get on this YouTube, I just show you how I am. There's no, behind, I guess I'm just who I am. If I'm like everyone else, we get grumpy, we get tired, we get hungry, we're happy, we're elated. And so I just show you who I am in terms of my personality. If I'm tired, I'm grumpy, I'm a Scorpio and I need a lot of sleep. And, but it doesn't change me from not being a nice person. I have a lot of empathy for everyone. So, you're absolutely right, Mr. Kool-Aid. I apologise, and I will be, when I'm tired, I'll be a lot more careful about how I come across. I don't want to be seen to be too grumpy, like I'm a grumpy old middle-aged person, which is fair enough. Okay, so thank you, Chris. You said ignore the idiots, and thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. This fellow, D12707, yeah, David Schwartz's comments really worry me, actually. Sometimes I think he is absolutely a crypto genius, but I don't think he has a lot of understanding in terms of what he says can affect the market in terms of sentiment. And, because he is a senior person of Ripple, he should be a little bit careful about what he does say because, any comments from CEOs or senior people from a company, just like in the equity market, can affect the price of the equity market price. And it's the same in the crypto market. So I think he needs to be a little bit more reflective of what he's saying in terms of the investor that holds the coin, XRP. So I do agree with that, D12707, absolutely. Thank you very much, John. That's very much appreciated. And thank you, Rolf, and thank you, Theocles. Okay, good. Could you explain why it's good to be a security as people holding Ripple think it's bad? What will happen if Ripple... Thanks, John, for the question. I think it's a very good one. What I'm talking about is a lot of the crypto market at the moment is retail. And what I mean by that is it's this... all the little investors like me, like you, like everyone else, where we buy and sell a little bit of Ripple here and there. We're not the big money managers. We're not the big Fidelities or the big BlackRocks that manage trillions of dollars worth of money in the equity market and in the bond market and in the cash market. So the big fund managers that manage massive amounts of money can't come into the crypto market at the moment because there's no regulation. That's number one. Number two, there's no custodian agreements in place where they're licensed through the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, and that's very important for large fund managers and money managers like obviously BlackRock and Fidelity, because without a custodian they can't come into this market at all, and they need to be sure that the custodian is regulated by the Security Exchange Commission and regulated by the banking system per se. So Coinbase and Circle are working on custodian right now as we speak, and they're trying to both get a banking license and be regulated through the Security Exchange Commission and the American Financial Markets Commission, or what do they call it over there. So coming back to your question about why is important for everything that trades on the exchange, like I said, in my mind, in terms of financial markets, is a security. It's because all these large fund managers, as I said, manage trillions and trillions of dollars of money. Now, if you on an individual basis don't manage your own 401k, I think you call it that, we call it superannuation, the fund managers manage that money on your behalf. And you could have that money in the equity market, 60% in the equity market, 30% in fixed interest bonds, 10% in cash, and they manage that money on your behalf. Every prospectus or every superannuation out there would have that fund managers can only invest in securities, and they can obviously invest in the fixed interest market, which is securities, and the equity market, which is securities. Now, there's obviously millions and millions of people that have this superannuation with these fund managers, and it all gets managed in a big, in a huge fund, right? The funds, as I said, are trillions. What they would have to do if things weren't designated security, they would have to go to every individual client and get, via compliance, get administration approval to deal in cryptocurrency that wasn't a security. And it would take, honestly, 12 months for them to get all that paperwork back, or longer, through compliance to be able to deal in the cryptocurrency market. It would be a compliance/administration nightmare, because fund managers have a mandate. The mandate is what they can actually invest in. So they run a pool of money, and they're allowed to invest in a certain percentage of equities, a certain percentage of industry stocks, a certain percentage of income stocks. They have credit limits and all sorts of things. So if they run a pool of money and they have a mandate that they can only invest in securities, they can't invest in anything else that's not a security. And for them to change that mandate of the managing of their fund, they would have to go through compliance, and they would have to go through and get approval from every client's money that sits in the fund. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. Which would be an administration nightmare and a compliance nightmare. So they wouldn't be able to invest money in an exchange where the tokens and the coins are not designated as securities. Now, my argument is, anything that trades on an exchange, you buy and sell it at a price. You don't have to have ownership. You buy or sell, and you're always buying and selling with the view to make money, is a security. It doesn't matter how the technology got started or anything. That's a separate issue. Okay, so, that's a separate issue. But once it goes onto the secondary market, and that's what I mean by the secondary market, it's gone, the initial public offering, or the initial coin offering, is the primary market. Once it goes onto the secondary market, it then trades like a security. No different to the equity market or the bond market or the fixed interest market or the treasury note market. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Maybe not the volunteers, but the thing is, the volunteers would have got paid something. I don't believe that they did it completely for free. Maybe they got Bitcoin coins, but that's beside the point. I think people are getting a bit confused here. Yes, we have the technology, and yes, the technology may have been paid for, may have not. But once a coin or a token starts trading on an exchange, that's what I'm saying makes it a security, okay? That's what I'm saying makes it a security, just by virtue of the coin and the token trading on an exchange. Now, when the exchanges become regulated, I don't think the SEC will have any option but to make every cryptocurrency a security, I don't think they'll have any option but to do that, because that's the way everything works in the financial markets. I don't believe, founded on YouTube, that I'm stuck in old school thinking. Just because I'm middle-aged doesn't mean I'm stuck in old school thinking, and I find that a bit, just because, you're young, I don't find every young person a complete idiot, okay? And I said I wasn't going to use idiot, but, I don't believe that, because I'm very modern in my thought process, incredibly. I'm very open-minded to all sorts of things. Homosexuality, people getting married together, women and men getting married together, having children. My idea, my model, I don't believe in old school thinking. I'm not religious. I'm very open-minded. I believe that people should live the life they want to, without prejudice, without racism, and without religion. So I condone, men being together. So I don't believe that I think in an old school fashion, not at all, okay? And just because I'm middle-aged, it doesn't mean everyone thinks the way I do, and I don't believe in marriage, because I think, women often become slaves to men in marriage. I don't believe in that. So I have very different beliefs. So, I think, founded on YouTube, I think you're very wrong about the way you think about how I think, seriously. I'm incredibly progressive, and, so really, it's like me saying to you, if you were young, that, you think like every other young person still lives with their parents when they're 35 and they've got no experience. Well, every young person's different. Some young people are really hardworking and don't live with their parents up until they're 35. So, I disagree with what you're saying there. Yeah, you were right, I was grumpy, and I apologise for that, because I was really tired, man, and, you're right, you're absolutely right, founded on YouTube, I was very grumpy last night, so I'm very sorry about that. What else we got? Thank you, Dan, I really appreciate that. Thank you, James. Yeah, I think something's going on here, Moneybags, I really do. I agree with you, because something's not right. This whole thing, with Coinbase putting on Ethereum Classic, when Ripple wasn't put on, Ethereum Classics had hacks, and then, this regulation, they're going to and from. I just wonder what's going on. Whether we're seeing a level playing field, I wonder, because I'm very sceptical. I'm very sceptical of the system as well. Just because I'm middle-aged, founded on YouTube, I'm not a believer in the system either, by the way. I'm very left-wing, and I don't believe in the system. And I do believe the system will collapse one day, Mr. Founded on YouTube. But I do agree with you, Moneybags. I think something, there's all these backroom deals, and we try to analyse it from where we see it, but we don't know what's really going on in the background deals, and I believe you completely on that. Yes, if A1 MA, yes, definitely. I mean, that's the whole issue. Anything that trades on an exchange should be designated or classified as a security, and it will only be good for the price, because it means that the big money managers can come in and buy XRP. The thing is, the retail market thinks it's going to be negative. They're actually quite wrong about that. Yes, the retail market's selling because they think it's going to be negative, but the thing is, if it gets classified as security, it opens up a whole different client base that can invest in XRP, or any other security for that matter, because all the big money managers need things to be designated as securities so they can invest, basically. Or, as I said, they would have to go and change all their mandates, which would be an administration nightmare. They have millions and millions of clients, millions. Yes, they've got trillions under management, trillions, but they have, maybe it's, hundreds of millions of clients. I don't know how many clients BlackRock would have, which is the biggest, money manager in the world. They have 5.6 trillion, but, they'd have hundreds of millions of clients. And to get approval from every client would take more than a year. It could take 10 years, who knows. Okay. Right. I don't know, talking about I don't know who wrote that. I watched, he said live. He didn't say anything about being related to the writer's got. Okay, well, I don't know what that. I'm not sure about that, Barbara. He's talking about Ethereum, but could change. Yeah, I don't understand that, but yeah, maybe I don't really know, but I'm not sure which article that was. Maybe that was that one that we're talking about. Hi, Justin. How are you? Thank you, Vic here. Thank you very much, Joachim. Oh, thank you, Future Boy XRP. Thank you very much. Thank you, Morshedul. And Egerberta, thank you. I love Egerberta. She's from Holland, I think. Thank you, Egerberta. Thank you, Omar. Very appreciative. Thank you. Thank you, Gabrielle. Thank you very much, Bo. Okay, so Bob says he's thinking that Ripple is XRP is not a security. Like I said, Bob, and look, you can certainly have your own opinion. That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. But I'm talking about XRP being put on the exchange and trading on the exchange. The question is, I know it was gifted, but there would have been value in that technology. And the thing is, that's a question for the ICO itself, because if Ripple can prove that they didn't pay or didn't get anyone to invest in the ICO, but in my mind they did, then technically they didn't have to provide a prospectus to the SEC. But someone would have funded the technology initially. If the technology was gifted, was the technology intact? In other words, did they add more technology on top of it where they needed more funding? Because when you look at the initial funding of Ripple, the company, they got money in from SBI, they got money in from private investors. And that's what the SEC is looking at. Did they get money in from private investors that gave them more money to build extra technology? That's pretty much what I'm saying. So even if they got the initial technology as a gift, was the initial technology the same technology that we're seeing now? But the thing is, they got funding from Google Ventures. So if they went to private people, which I think they might have as well, then potentially they should have let me put it this way, they should have done, gone to the SEC. But if they can prove they didn't, then they'll be off the hook in that sense. But that's a separate issue to XRP trading on the exchange. And that's a completely separate issue. So I'm saying any cryptocurrency that trades on an exchange, regardless of the initial ICO, should be designated as security. Okay? Now, there's two issues here. The SEC is saying the initial funding for the ICO, should you have done a prospectus, like in any other market? That's what the founders of the crypto technology are trying to prove, yes or no. That's a separate issue to the one I'm saying, the second issue, that the coins and tokens trade on the exchange, and that's what makes them security. And there doesn't even have to be ownership in that. I hope that's clear, guys. Okay. The SEC director saying that third party to be what the buyer was depending on profits. That is why. Well, the thing is, the buyer and the seller always, when they're exchanging Bitcoin or Ethereum, this is where the SEC is just making everyone confused, and his statement's a bit silly. And I'm not going to call him an idiot today, I'm sorry, but I won't. The buyer and the seller, when they're trading on an exchange, expect to make profit. No one buys or sells anything expecting to make a loss. So I'm saying every coin and every token that deals on an exchange, and once it becomes regulated, will be a security. They will classify it as security, regardless of how the initial technology got funded. There's two separate issues here, okay? Two separate issues. So you know, now J.J. Callender said, so the car I bought and restored, if I plan to sell it for a profit, then it's a security. That's crazy. I agree with you. It's not a security because it doesn't deal on a regulated or an exchange that's unregulated. That's my point. Anything that deals on an unregulated or a regulated exchange, via third party, like Ethereum and Bitcoin or anything else, you can buy it on any other exchange via a third party, and you buy it or sell it to make a profit, is a security. That's exactly my point. A car is completely different. I can't go and buy that car on an exchange, say through Bitfinex, say through Bittrex, say through any other exchange, and there's 600. I can go and buy Ethereum and Bitcoin on every other exchange out there. That's the point. I can buy it on over 600 exchanges. And I'm buying or selling. It doesn't matter whether you're buying or selling. I'm buying or selling to make profit. And I'm buying it off someone else that's selling, or I'm selling it to someone else that's buying. And we're both entering the market, like everyone else's other markets, fixed interest and equities. We're buying it and selling it in the market to make money. There's a buyer and a seller. We transact at a price for gain or loss, and that's what designates a security in terms of financial markets. Very, very separate. Okay, I hope that's clear. Thank you. I understand even if that was Cambo, but again, as I said, it's very different to the coin and the token trading on the exchange. That's what makes it a security. Okay, what else we got here? Thank you very much, Annalise. It's not, Jesper, because the crypto retail market, as I call it, the small-time fudders and small-time people like myself, that, we might have an investment. The average holding of XRP is 75,000. Okay, if you look at their overall investor distribution list, they have about 1.2 million investors or something. So the average holding for a retail investor, and I call myself retail, is 75,000. But the big guys that manage billions can do billion-dollar transactions. Now, last night before XRP went up, was at 51.52 cents. A billion-dollar transaction went through for XRP at 52 cents. Now, that was not the retail market. It wasn't the people like me, you, and everyone else who can only afford, if we're lucky, 75,000 units of XRP. That was the wholesale market that can do billions of XRP. Billions. So if the wholesale market, which is the big market, where they do a minimum of $5 million worth, where me, mums and dads, or just average people can only do maybe 5,000. Think about it. If they can do 5 million and above, or 50 million, or 100 million, you tell me, is that going to be good for XRP's price or not? The wholesale market's coming in and buying 50 million of XRP, or 100 million of XRP, or doing $1 billion of XRP. What do you think is going to happen to the price? That's my point. The wholesale market has huge money, and they can do $1 billion, $2 billion of XRP. Us in the retail market at the moment, because it's full of many people like me, middle-aged people that are obviously very old, according to Mr. YouTube, whatever his name was, very old thinking, which I'm particularly not. Matter of fact, I'm less conservative than some young people these days. The thing is, we can only afford, as I said, say $50,000 if we're lucky. But these big guys and big girls that manage trillions of dollars can come in and buy 200, can come in and buy $1 billion of XRP, can buy 50 billion of XRP. That's my point, because they manage so much money, and 1% of their fund, 1% of 5.7 trillion is a lot of money. It's a huge amount of money. So if they can buy such volume, the XR price is not going to go down, it's going to go up, okay? So what I'm saying is, if the security exchange, Coinbase and Circle, get regulated, they get their licensing for custodian, they're regulated by the SEC like the banks, and all the coins and tokens are designated as securities, the big fund managers with trillions of dollars can come into this crypto market, and they can basically buy these securities and push the prices up to incredible levels. Okay? I hope that's clear. Anyone that's telling you that it's bad for the crypto market, coins and tokens, to be classified as securities are pretty silly. I'm not going to use the word idiot. Are pretty silly. They don't understand the market. There is two separate markets. We have the small fry like me, and everyone else can only afford, if we're lucky, 75,000 units of XRP. A wholesale manager, a big guy with a lot of money or a big girl with a lot of money managing funds, could easily buy 500 million of XRP or anything else for that matter. Okay? Yes, I've got two cats. Well, I actually got three, Paul. My poor Gussie, I love him so much. He's 17 and he's very ill. He's on 9 tablets a day for a heart condition. I've had him at the vet twice, this week and last week, and I'm really worried about him. I have to make sure he drinks enough water, and he doesn't seem to want to go to the toilet, and he can't walk. And I've had him since he was a baby, and I love him dearly. I mean, I just love that cat. And he's not eating very much, and I don't know what else to do. The vet, I don't know what to do. My other cat, Ezzy, she's his sister. They're brother and sister. They're black and white. Ezzy is my other cat's name. She's 17. She seems to be doing really well. But Gussie's just not good, and I'm really, I've been in tears about him, honestly. I just love that cat. You get so close to your animals, seriously, and I'm not good with death. I'm really not. And I've got a young cat called Telly, who's also black and white, and she's very fat. She loves the food. She's incredibly fat, and she's got a small head because she looks so fat. She just eats all the time, but she's really, really clever. She went from 5 different families because no one wanted her. And I basically said, look, I'm having her because I feel terribly sad for her, because I couldn't stand the thought that she was going from foster family to foster family. And I understand what that would be like. So, and I've got her, and she's incredibly smart. She's so clever, she even knows how to flush the toilet. She watches me go to the toilet, and she knows how to flush the toilet. That's serious. She knows how to open doors. She talks all the time. So, quite amazing. Anyway, I better tie this up because it's getting longer. XRP, yes, I do, Miguel, because it will be good for the market overall, because it means it opens up a whole new client base of XRP clients that can buy XRP, which is the big fund managers with trillions of dollars. Thank you, Actor Gillis. Right. Look, there is a lot of FUD, and I have to agree with you, Kay. It's just, and I think the SEC is just basically, honestly, confusing everyone, and they don't need to, and it's because they don't really know, really, because they're not market practitioners, seriously. Hi, Deborah, how are you, darling? Thank you very much for joining my subscription service. I really appreciate it, and you're a lovely woman, and I really appreciate your emails. Read my pussycat Gus, so thank you very much. You're just gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you, Fashan. That's really, really nice. I believe the best thing is for XRP to be classified as a security like every other cryptocurrency, the market to be regulated, the custody issue to be fixed, and Circle and Coinbase to get their banking license and they get their rating, and then all the big money managers can come in and buy or XRP through the roof, basically. That's what I believe. Binance is also going to, well, they are looking to leave. They're going to Malta, as you know, and they're looking to expand in Where else were they looking to expand? Was it Singapore or somewhere else? They're doing a lot of things, Bernards. They're amazing. I mean, they're doing so much volume. Where was it? They're going to create 40 jobs. They're going to Malta, but they're also looking to expand somewhere else. I can't remember where it was. Anyway, I'll just, I think I've answered most of those questions. But look, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Karen, Daruk, John, Keith, thank you very much. And, thank you all. And apology for being grumpy. I'm very sorry. And no, I'm not old-minded thinking at all. And please look after yourselves. Please be kind to yourself. I haven't been kind to myself lately. I haven't been eating properly and not sleeping enough, so that's why I'm grumpy. But I'm not today because I had a lot of sleep. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to your parents. Be kind to your friends. Be kind to your animals, and just make this world a better place. Thank you. Thank you for listening.